Welcome to the Black Mirror Podcast.
Join host Ho-Ho as he discusses the riveting Netflix original series,
Black Mirror. Now, here he is, Ho-Ho-Ho.
Broadcasting from the Kata Studio, welcome to Black Mirror Podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. Today, we are starting Season 6 with Episode 1 titled, Joan is awful. Is she though? Is she awful? Or is she kind of being set up? No. Let's be the judge of this one. But first I do have some stuff I want to talk about at the end of the episode. But before we do all that, warning, spoiler alert, we are going to be talking about the episode, some of the stuff that happens in it, of course. So if you have not watched the episode yet, head on over and check that out, and then come on back, and then let's talk about it. So, Joan is awful. Now, I had a lot of expectations going into this one. I really did, because after season 5, I was looking up if they were going to do a season 6, how far away we are with it, all that good stuff. And one of the things that I had heard through the some of the articles that I was reading was that they were bumping up production value. And boy, howdy, did they ever. Not just with the quality of the show, everything itself, but it was the depth of the plot in this one. Some of the stuff that they were talking about was just, whoa. It definitely was on another level as far as I was concerned. They did a good job with it. So let's go ahead and get into this. So the episode starts out, you got Joan that is, going through her morning routine, going through her day just like anybody would. Hops into her car, she's heading to work, she's jamming to some music. I don't know about you, but I do that as much as I possibly can. I'm always jamming to some music. She gets to work. You find out that she's, low level management, and she's got to do a dirty deed, right? She's got to do a dirty deed. And at this point, I'm going to be honest with you. I felt for Joan. I really did, because I've been low level management, and I know what it basically consists of. You're tasked with doing the things that upper management just don't want to do, that don't want to deal with. You're a glorified peon. You have more responsibility. You don't really have a lot of pay, but you really don't have much power either. Because again, you're just doing what somebody else doesn't really want to do. So on that aspect, I felt for her. I really did. And as she is preparing to terminate somebody, she gets a message from a guy by the name of Max. Hey, I'm in town. I'm going to be at this place. Hey, let's hook up. She agrees to it. She does her deed. She terminates the gal she's supposed to. She then goes to see her therapist after work. And she's having a conversation. And she's talking with her therapist. And, now there's a couple things in here that I'm wanting to talk about, okay? First is with her relationships, okay? Talk with a therapist, she's very much glorifying her relationship with her ex. And she's, I guess you can say, displeased with how things are going with her current boyfriend, And her current boyfriend is most definitely, it's a rebound. How can I say that? Well, think about it. Where Max was spontaneous and experimental and, passionate and, just spontaneous. Her current was none of that. And again, she's glorifying this relationship. And, she acknowledges that there was bad things that happened in that relationship. Obviously, she dumped the guy. But you don't really get that feeling that a lot of time has passed, and definitely not enough time that, Max has changed in any significant way, or at least I don't pick up on that. And, sorry. I don't pick up on that whatsoever. And, so it's like, okay, look, you're glorifying your relationship with Max. You acknowledging the bad, but, it's like, you left the guy for a reason, right? So, obviously at the time when you were in the relationship, it was bad enough for you to leave. Don't forget why you left him in the first place. And maybe keep the rebound as the rebound, or, what have you. If not, look, no judgment to anybody, not judging. It's one of the things. I get it. I really do. Just exploring the psychological aspect of it, because that, for me, that's intriguing. Why people do some of the stuff that they do. It's intriguing to me. But then she continues talking about her own life, and that she doesn't really feel as though she's the one controlling it. Not that there's somebody else controlling her life. It's just that she's not the one that's really making the decisions. Like she's not the pilot of her own plane. She's not the driver of her own car. She's just going through life and going through the motions, just going with the flow. She's in the boat, sure, but she's not really at the helm. It's just going wherever the waves take her, right? That's kind of how she feels. And she's asked by her therapist, do you want to take control? And I don't know about you, but I've definitely, had that going on in my life. Sorry, I had to take a drink. But I've definitely had that going on in my life, just feeling like I'm just going through the motions of life, like I'm not really the one that's making the decisions. I'm just in the boat on the ocean, going wherever the wind and the waves take me. Has that ever happened to you in life? Just going through the motions, not really feeling like you're in charge, just going through the motions. And I don't know if that's a good feeling or a bad feeling. For me, I was kind of indifferent about the whole thing, but I don't know, maybe your experience with it was a little different. Let me know. And after her time with her therapist, she goes and meets Max. It's not the best of reunions. Max was wanting something that apparently Joan really wasn't offering, and Max was a little upset about that. It's like, well, why did you come here? Type of a, hey, if you didn't come here wanting this, then why in the world did you even show up in the first place? Type of thing, And then she gets home to her boyfriend or fiance. I honestly don't remember. And this is where things gets interesting. They meet, or I'm sorry, they eat, they meet. They eat, they're sitting down and they're watching Netflix. Now, it wasn't called Netflix. It was called something else, Streamberry, but it was Netflix. Come on. You've seen it. It was Netflix. They're watching that. Hey, let's watch this. I don't really feel like watching that. Well, let's watch this. Nah, I don't really feel like watching that either. We just got done watching this, and that's a lot like this. Let's watch something different. Hey, Joan is awful. Wow, that's your name. Huh, wow, that hairstyle's kind of like yours. You know, I'm interested. And as they're watching this episode, Joan is awful. She's, that's how I started my day. I don't think I like this. That's the song I was listening to on my way to work. That's where I work. What's going on here? Text message from Max. Oh crap, my current boyfriend just seen that. They're embellishing. That's not how it actually happened. They fight, they argue. He's coming out. Is that really how you feel about me? You know, whenever they were in, you know, whenever she was talking with a therapist, and of course he leaves. He's upset. Duh. I would be too. You know, what do you expect from the guy? Now, obviously, she didn't want any of this to play out the way that it did, you know, but the next day she goes into work. She basically finds out that everybody in her life watched this show. Everybody did. The word's out. Holy crap. She gets to work. The first thing that happens is she gets fired from her job. The board is in agreement. You technically violated your non-disclosure agreement. You're terminated. You're done here. Then she goes and talks to her lawyer, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting. She talks to her lawyer. She's like, hey, you need to do something about this. He plops down this big old stack of papers, like an inch and a half thick. It's like, have you ever, I can't do anything because of this. I've never seen this. Well, you did, but you probably never seen it in print before. Remember the terms of service agreement that you just clicked OK to without even reading? That's what this is. Guess what it says? That they can do whatever they want to when you agree to it. Well, I didn't agree to it. I didn't think they were going to be doing this. Like, well, but there's nothing I can do. This terms of service agreement it's ironclad. They covered all their bases. Well, how did they even get this? They're listening to your conversations. They're using people's phones to record everything, video, audio, geolocation, the whole 9 yards. And has this ever happened? Like, I know this has happened to me. I can't be the only one. I hear people talking about this. You know, I mean, let's just say you're with your friends and you're talking with your buddy about this pen. And this pen is amazing. This is the best pen I've ever known. It's smooth. It's clear. It's dark. It's amazing in your hand. It's just, it walks, it talks, it chews tobacco and it spits. And next thing you know, you open up Facebook, you open up YouTube or whatever your social media of choice is, Instagram, whatever. And the next thing you know, you see an advertisement for that very pen that you were just talking about with your buddy. You've not even searched this yet. You've not even gone shopping for this thing yet. You get an email from Amazon. Hey, buy this pen you were just talking about. I mean, creepy, right? But that's the society that we're living in now. That this is the stuff that's happening, right? We click that terms of service agreement and we give them access to all this stuff. And what if this is the way they choose to exercise what you agreed to in the terms of service agreement? Now, I mean, for most people, it's a whatever, only whenever something is bad and annoying is it even going to be something you think about. But, it's like, I know, at least for me, that I don't really think about it in my day to day. I mean, like, yeah, in the back of my head, I know it's happening. I know I'm being recorded, but, it doesn't basically affect me in my day to day. So it's nothing that I think about. Is this something that you think about? You know, is this something that bothers you? You know, have you taken measures to ensure that it doesn't happen? I mean, what measures can you take? I mean, I carry my smartphone with me most places, you know, I mean, does it bother you? I don't know. And she has the idea that, well, if I can't go after Netflix for this, maybe I can go after Salma Hayek. Because, I mean, she's the one that portrayed me. And this was, isn't this defamation of character? And basically her lawyer goes, well, I mean, I guess you could sue her if it was her. But this whole thing was done using CGI. So, I mean, it was just her likeness. So it wasn't actually Salma Hayek. I mean, you know, Netflix can use her likeness to do whatever they want to. Salma Hayek may not like it, but there's nothing she could technically do about it, you know? So, you know, that night she's watching the episode of that day and she gets this look on her face, right? She gets this look and it's like, she had an idea. And this is going to be good. So the next morning, man, she comes in to her house with bags, like 2 bags of hamburgers from her favorite fast food joint. You know, name your favorite hamburger from your favorite fast food joint. She's got like 5, 6 of them. I don't even remember. It was a lot. And after she chows down and eats as many as she could possibly eat, she opens up a bottle of something. Liquid gold. I say that it's a bottle of X-Lax. A laxative. I don't remember exactly what it was. It doesn't matter. She just starts drinking, guzzling this bottle of laxative. I mean, she drinks like what, 1/3 of it? Oh, holy crap, you know, and then she gets in her car, she takes off, she's going down the road, and, you know, you see her lifting a thing of lipstick up to her lips. No, she goes higher than that. She's going up to her forehead. What is she doing? I don't know. Because then it cuts to another scene where she is breaking, you know, she opens up the doors and goes into a room like a Kool-Aid man through a brick wall, and she's spouting all kinds of crap. She's wearing a cheerleader outfit. She's got her hair in pigtails, and wouldn't you know it, she busts into a church. Not during a regular church service. They're doing a wedding. She's spouting all kinds of crap. Next thing you know, she kind of halfway bends over and she's getting this push look on her face, and then the dams break open. And the fondue fountain is in full effect. Oh boy, howdy. I felt so bad for the floor. I felt bad for the janitor that had to clean it up. I felt bad for her underbritches. I felt bad for the people that were behind her. I felt bad for everybody. This was so bad. I could smell it. I was like, oh boy, howdy, that's got to be nasty. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. Oh boy, howdy. And of course, you know, she does this for the shock factor, just to get Salma Hayek's attention. Because Joan's like, I'm a nobody. There's nothing I can do about this. But Salma Hayek, maybe she can get something done. And Salma Hayek goes to her attorney. and basically gets told the exact same thing that Joan did. Hey, you have this terms of service agreement. It is iron tight. It is watertight. It is airtight. There's nothing I can do. You gave them permission to use your likeness. They used it. There's nothing I can do just because you don't like the way they used it. She's obviously unhappy with this. She fires her lawyer. And then she's like, fine, I'm going to go talk to Joan. I'm going straight to the source. If I can't talk to them, then I'm going to talk to her and say, stop it. You're making me look bad. Right? And Joan's like, man, I just wanted this to stop. I don't like this. I don't like my life being portrayed like this. And she was like, well, I don't like you doing what you're doing either. No, the bad guy is Netflix here. Well, what can you do? Well, nothing. What the heck am I going to do? It's like, they're doing all this through a computer. Where's the computer at? It's probably at their headquarters. Well, let's go to the headquarters. How the heck am I supposed to get in there? What do you mean, how are you supposed to, well, we don't get in, you get in. Well, how am I supposed to get in? And I'm thinking, because you're Selma fucking Hayek. And at the same time I'm thinking it, Joan goes, because you're Selma fucking Hayek. And I'm like, called it. I did too. I was like, that's exactly what she's going to say. That's what she said. I got a kick out of that part. I really did. I thought that was hilarious. The comedy factor on that was high. It was cool. They get into the building. They're break in, sneak in, however you want to look at it. And they're overhearing the CEO or president or whoever the person is talk with a reporter about Joan is awful. And it's like, how is this possible? No. They're talking about why awful, why not amazing or something like that. And the president CEO person was like, well, we tried that, but focus groups, it just didn't really play out. People weren't really interested, so we went with awful. We went with, the more selfish nature of things. And that's how we decided to go with it. And then she went on further to say that we have these type of episodes for basically everybody. There's even one for you, talking to the reporter, and the reporter's reaction is like, oh crap. It's like, I know I'm awful. You don't even have to embellish. Holy crap. And then she asked the question of how is this even possible? And the president CEO lady was like, well, we use this supercomputer. This thing is amazing. It's a miracle. I don't even know how it does it, but it takes all the information it's getting in, all the various audio inputs and video inputs and everything. And it compiles everything, and it puts the likenesses on there and takes the video and renders the whole thing and publishes it real time. Like, this thing is amazing how it works, how it functions, the whole 9 yards. It's absolutely amazing using quantum computers. Now guys, look, I'm older than Google. Okay. I've been around for a few days. I've seen technology grow from Windows 3.0 to whatever the heck we are now. Windows 365. I've seen the progression of technology. And it baffles the mind. It really does. Man, does it. It baffles the mind. But I want to let you in on something. When it comes to processors, okay, we have reached the limits of silicone-based processors. We really have. We can't get information to move across any faster than what it already does. We've reached the limit of our current consumer grade, processors. We have, and they're exploring all kinds of things, right? They're exploring light, crystals, fiber optics. And let me tell you, with fiber optics it's amazing. I mean, they've not even scratched the surface of what is possible with fiber optics, let alone with just quantum computing in general. I was listening to a guy just yesterday, or maybe even earlier today, and he was talking about quantum communications. I'm like, what the heck is quantum communications? And, I'm not going to, look, layman terms, because that's all I get. But basically is what it amounts to is, I don't know jack on the science aspect of it. But what it basically amounts to is, with quantum computing, not quantum computing, I'm sorry, quantum communications, that they can communicate one person with another, instantaneous, regardless of the distance between them. Instant communication, regardless of distance. That's what quantum communication is. Like, holy crap, are you kidding me? I mean, y'all have watched a show where you got the news anchor on TV and he's interviewing somebody that's out in the field, some news reporter, and, ask a question and then wait 10 seconds because they got to hear the question and then they got to respond to the question. And then the anchor man has to deal with that delay. And then there you go. I mean, y'all have seen that. No more delay with quantum communications, quantum telecommunication, I think is how they worded it, but quantum communications. Dude. I mean, I'm telling you something, okay? The future of technology lies in, data management, robotics, AI. These are the things that if you're into IT, technical, that's the place to go. What they're doing, dude, it boggles the mind. You think about it, where just the last 10 years of technological advancements, where are we going to be in another 10 years? Where are we going to be? It boggles the mind to even think about it. Oh, dude. Whew. So then, this is where things get interesting because now it's go time. Now they're going to smash the computer, right? They're going to dismantle this puppy. They're going to destroy it. They're going to take it out. So they go into the room. There's an IT guy sitting there. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. And then Joan's like, well, what are you doing? He's like, I'm watching Joan is Awful. It's like, that's not Joan is Awful because that's me as Joan. I'm not Joan and Joan is Awful. Salma Hayek is Joan and Joan is Awful. And the IT guy's like, but I'm watching level 1. Joan is Awful. What are you talking about? You're not real. You're a computer simulation. Because Salma is Joan in level 2. And then this person is Joan in level 3. And then this person is Joan in level 4. And it just keeps going. But you're not Joan. Where's Joan? She's in the real world. You're a computer simulation. You don't actually exist. You're in a computer. Whoa. You mean to tell me everything that I've been watching is about Joan, whom isn't actually Joan? She's what? Mind blown. Dude. She's going in to take a baseball bat, swing away, swinging for a home run, and then the president, CEO comes in and is like, hey, you can't do that. You're going to destroy, kill everybody. everybody in every simulation, all down line, you're going to kill everybody. And this is where Joan has, now I would be having an existential crisis at this point. I would be like, I'm ink, therefore I am. Little throwback to comics from like, Sunday comics from back in the day. I think, therefore I am type of thing. What do you mean I'm not real? But she doesn't have that existential crisis. She's like very self-aware. She's like, look, if I'm just nothing more than a computer program, then I am not doing this. I am merely a mirror for what Joan is doing. I'm only here because Joan is here. I'm not in control of this. Something's happening. It's happening now. And then she swing out of the park. And when she hits the quantum computer, you see a flash, and then you see Salma Hayek as Joan, and then you see the level 3 Joan, and then you see the level 4 Joan, and then you see Joan, the real Joan. It's like, dude, this episode was on another level, right? Oh, such a good episode. Such a good episode. I tell you what, I can't wait to see what the rest of this season has to offer, because starting it off the way that they did, wow. I mean, it might not have been the most flashy, but I'm telling you, just the undertones in this episode, the psychological in this episode, the technological in this episode was, whoa. So we got some questions, don't we? Have you ever had a point in your life where you just didn't feel like the driver? That you just felt like you were going through the motions, okay? Like you were just a ship being tossed hither and yon on the wind and the waves. Has that ever described you at any point in your life? Does that describe you now? I mean, maybe me, I know I've had those times in my life. Very much so. Just going through the motions. No real passion behind it. No real emotion behind it. Just, that seems like something I should do. And do it. Yeah, I get it. In this technological state that we're in right now, have you ever thought about just how much access you grant these various companies, that you just click on the I accept these terms of services, not even considering what you're actually agreeing to, knowing that everything you say is basically being monitored. Now, I mean, granted, they say that it's for advertising purposes, and and realistically, all this stuff goes into metadata aspect, and it's nothing that is really pulled up this way. But we also know that if they really wanted to, like for instance, with these smart devices, you ask it questions, you say things, they're always listening. That's why them keywords wakes her up to where she'll respond back with you, whatever device you got. But you say that keyword and there you go. But they're always listening. Do you mind? Or are you like most people, like me, that, well, yeah, it's listening, but I guess until it becomes an issue, it's not really an issue, right? You know, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Don't ever ask that question. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then looking at technology, the technological aspect of this story. I mean, wow. You think about the last 10 years, what's going to be possible in another 10? How much more are we going to advance our technology? I mean, what is even possible? I mean, you know, isn't it almost like we've reached a point where anything is possible, isn't it? You know, I mean, I remember watching science fiction back in the day, you know, like Star Trek, right? Dude, guys, I got news for you. Anymore, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it, that science fiction isn't real, okay? There's no such thing as science fiction. It's not science fiction. Star Trek is not science fiction. Science fantasy, sure, but not science fiction because it's science possible. It's science, we're doing it. I mean, think about it. The you know, touch screen things, we got them. Beam me up. Yeah, we got it. You know, they're experimenting with, teleportation stuff. You know, they're experimenting. They've done like small single molecule whatever, and I think they've done, like objects. I don't think they've done anything alive at this point. But there's no such thing. We live in a world where there's no such thing as science fiction anymore. It's just science fantasy. Because everything you've seen in the movies, they've either done it or tried it. Jurassic Park, done it. The science is sound in that, just so you know. Boggles the mind, but yes, the science is sound. I like all the science speak in that show. It's accurate. They did it just like that. The science fiction part of it is that they've not done it to that scale and made dinosaurs and had them kill a bunch of people yet. But as far as bringing it back, guys, look, I just found something out not that terribly long ago. Okay. I just found this out. And they're doing this with extinct animals, okay? Just found this out. Like maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't even think it was that long ago. The woolly mammoth is no longer an extinct animal. Yeah. They used, what did they use? Was it an African elephant? I don't remember what elephant they used. But they used that elephant, and then they used the DNA to make something, and then magic, and then woolly mammoth. It's like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not lying. They did that. Is that not cool or what? So, dude, where are we going to be? Where are we going to be? All of these questions. And I really do. I want to know what you think on these things. I want to know, how you feel about some of these things. So definitely head on over to blackmirrorpodcast.com. The website is live. I definitely still have quite a bit of work to do on the forum page of things, not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm hoping to get quite a few more done, but definitely before the end of season 6, everything will be done. And in there, I'm still just on season 1, starting into season 2. I do have an episode done on there, but you can head on over to those discussion boards and anything, put your questions, put your responses in. If there's questions that you have in there and thoughts that you have about various episodes, let me know. I'm curious. And of course, you can always go to the homepage of blackmirrorpodcast.com and just scroll on down towards the bottom of the page, and there is a contact me section. You can put your questions, your comments, your concerns, your suggestions in there. They are always welcome. Absolutely, they are. And don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. So, guys, that is all I got for you today. That is it. I'll see you either next week or the week after that with with episode 2. That's all I got. Y'all just have yourself a great one, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Black Mirror Podcast. If you would like to join the conversation, you can comment on this episode at Spreaker.com or go to thehohoshow.com /forum in the discussion board for this season.